Today's show with more on the death of Osama bin Laden. Numerous questions have been raised on how the Al-Qaeda could have been living, the Al-Qaeda leader could have been living in the Pakistani city of Abbottabad, just down the street from Pakistan's premier military academy. CIA Director Leon Panetta has reportedly told members of Congress in classified briefings that Pakistan was either, quote, knowledgeable or incompetent when it came to bin Laden's whereabouts. Some evidence has emerged to indicate that the Pakistani military may have had a direct role in harboring bin Laden. The journalist Steve Cole, who has written extensively on the bin Laden family, reports that local maps show land near the bin Laden compound as restricted areas, indicating that they were under military control. Cole writes that the initial circumstantial evidence suggests, quote, that bin Laden was effectively being housed under Pakistani state control.
The Canadian newspaper The Globe and Mail is reporting a local police source in Abbottabad said bin Laden's compound was also used by Hizbul Mujahideen, a Pakistani militant group active in Kashmir that many believe has the support of Pakistani security services. Meanwhile, the Pakistani government's claiming it warned U.S. intelligence 2 years ago about the compound where bin Laden was killed. In a statement, the Pakistani Foreign Ministry said it had shared intelligence with the CIA about the compound since 2009. The statement says, quote, the fact is that this particular location was pointed out by our intelligence quite some time ago to the U.S. intelligence. We're going right now to Pakistan, to Graeme Smith, an award-winning foreign correspondent for the Globe and Mail newspaper in Toronto. He was in Abbottabad yesterday investigating the mystery behind the bin Laden compound. He's joining us now on the phone from Islamabad. Graeme, welcome to Democracy Now! Tell us what you found.
Well, you know, what we found is really a mystery. It's Abbottabad is now a city of whispers in some ways. You know, people are being stopped on the street many times a day and being asked, you know, what did you know? And sometimes the people asking the questions are journalists, and sometimes they're security forces. And so it becomes very hard to sort out truth from rumor. You know, neighbors have started to regurgitate what they've heard from other neighbors, and so the sort of the information swirling around this high-walled compound in quite a lovely scenic part of Abbottabad the information is getting rather murky. And so what we've been trying to do actually is to run down some of the documentary evidence. And that's proven rather difficult because, you know, although there were at least 4 gas meters on the outside of the compound and a few electricity meters, so presumably, therefore, there should be, you know, gas company accounts and electricity company accounts, and there should also be land registry documents and all these things. These documents are proving really hard to find because the Pakistani government has instructed local officials not to disclose them. Now, we have been able to get through that problem a little bit by finding a friendly local administrator in Abbottabad who read off the name and family name and hometown listed on the land registry document, which suggests that whoever registered themselves as the owner of the bin Laden compound claimed to live in a district called Charsada, just north of Peshawar in the tribal areas. And at the moment, we're trying to figure out whether that was an alias, as Pakistani officials claim, or something else. So we're sending a reporter right now, as we speak, up to Charsada.
Now, Graeme, you've noted that while the Pakistani officials say that it was an alias or false identity, that it would be very difficult, given not just the land transfer itself, but all of the other things that had to be done in terms of getting permits for construction, getting utilities hooked up to the compound, that this would require quite a bit of review by various officials in terms of identifying the actual individuals who own the place.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's not impossible to falsify these things. Quite a lot of Afghans especially use fake ID cards in Pakistan, and the government has been trying to set up a sort of electronic database of all national identity cards, but there remain a lot of these sort of older generation, non-database cards And so it is possible that whoever set up the compound could have used a fake ID card and then sort of built this elaborate sort of system of fraud, basically, paper upon paper upon paper, a land transfer paper, a note from the cantonment board authorizing the connection of a gas line, all of these, signatures and stamps and so forth, all of the mundane paraphernalia of bureaucratic life in Pakistan. It's possible that this was entirely faked. But what's interesting is that all along the way, there would have been opportunities to check. One guy who has built 25 homes in Bilal Town, which is he's a contractor who works in the area, said that typically your ID would be checked about 7 times along the way. And what also struck me was that in that area, it was built on military lands, which is not unusual. There's a lot of suburban development on military lands in Pakistan. But in those areas, your application to build something has to be reviewed by a cantonment board, which is chaired by a serving colonel in the Pakistani military. And so it really does seem like bin Laden was living for years right under their noses, and that these checks and balances were either missed or overlooked.
And the potential links of the two brothers to Hizbul Mujahideen, and what is that group, and its potential connections to Pakistani intelligence?
I think this was a tantalizing lead that we got earlier in the week. A police official in Abbottabad told us that the compound, as he put it, belonged to Hizbul Mujahideen. Then that police official became abruptly unavailable when we tried to talk to him further about that. And police officials, of course, in Abbottabad have been instructed not to get into who owned the compound or who controlled it. So it's been rather difficult here, I have to say, researching the story, trying to get to the bottom of what was going on. The Pakistani military has now taken over the investigation and will presumably make their own inquiries. Hizbul Mujahideen, by the way, if there was some link to them, it would be quite embarrassing to Pakistan, because Hizbul Mujahideen is one of these militant groups that has operated with some impunity in Pakistan for many years. It was originally set up to fight the war against the Soviets in Afghanistan, and then morphed into a liberation movement in what Pakistanis call Azad Kashmir, and in what they call sort of Indian-occupied Kashmir. And so that's a group that has enjoyed a fair bit of freedom to act. And has not really been, the members have not really been rounded up by the Pakistani security forces. And some analysts say that Hizbul Mujahideen has been, in fact, directly supported by the Pakistani state.
Graeme Smith, you have lived in the region for years. Can you talk about the press reaction and the popular reaction? And also in Abbottabad, I mean, it's a military town, retired military, current military, next to the equivalent of the U.S.'s West Point. So it's not just average civilians that live around him, not to mention his house is so much vastly bigger than everything in the environs. It would certainly stand out and make people wonder who's living there.
Yeah, it did stand out in the neighborhood, and I was struck when I went there, actually, how ugly it is. It was described initially as a mansion, but it really did look more like a security compound of some kind, almost like a small prison. And I couldn't help thinking that, whoever constructed this thing may not have had bin Laden's comfort in mind. You're right. Abbottabad is an otherwise very pretty town. Even the neighborhood where bin Laden was apparently living is, on a dirt road lined with poplar trees, and the smell of crushed mint underfoot, and just this lovely bucolic setting. The town of Abbottabad is wealthy. it's a sort of place where you sense that Pakistan is westernizing. It has Shell gas stations and all kinds of other comforts that you might associate with the Western world. It's nowhere near as sort of ramshackle as some of the places like Quetta and Peshawar, where most of the sort of war on terrorism has been focused. Abbottabad is known for being a cantonment town, as you said. It's a garrison outpost, and yeah, this Pakistani military college was very well respected. In fact, just a week before the raid, the head of the Pakistani military, General Kayani, visited this military facility for its graduation ceremony, I believe it was, and he announced very proudly that the Pakistani military had broken the back of terrorism in the region.
I wanted to play for you the White House Press Secretary Jay Carney, former reporter, addressing the claims that Pakistan was knowingly harboring Osama bin Laden.
What John Brennan said, and what I'll repeat, is that we obviously are interested in finding out the details of the support network that obviously helped Mr. bin Laden hide in Abbottabad. We don't know the members of that support network. We also note that the Pakistani government has launched an investigation of its own, and we think that's a good thing. And we will work to find out as much as we can about how that happened. I would then further state that our relationship with Pakistan, while complicated, is very important. And it is very important precisely because of our need to continue the fight against al-Qaeda, to continue the fight against terrorists. The fight is not done, and we look forward to cooperating with Pakistan in the future. As others have said, more terrorists have been killed on Pakistani soil than probably any other country. And the cooperation we've received from Pakistan has been very useful in that regard.
So that's White House Press Secretary Jay Carney. This is Pakistan's ambassador to the United States, Hussein Haqqai, speaking on Charlie Rowe's show on Tuesday.
I think that, well, first of all, let me just say that I did make those phone calls, and what I'm told is we just dropped the ball, and there is going to be an inquiry of sorts. There will be we will get to the bottom of it. How did it happen? But the most important concern here right now is to reassure people in the United States that Pakistan and Pakistanis as a nation did not look upon Osama bin Laden favorably, and that's very important. I'm getting threatening phone calls. My embassy is getting threatening phone calls. There are people who've gone berserk. They're sending emails saying instead of recognizing what Pakistan has contributed, the failure is being pointed out.
That was Pakistan's ambassador to the United States on PBS. Your response, Graeme Smith, to both the White House press secretary and the Pakistani ambassador?
Well, first of all, I find it funny that the White House insists on calling this place Abbottabad when it's actually Abbottabad. I was in Quetta, Pakistan, when all of this happened. And a security official visited my hotel room and urged me not to leave for my own safety. On the streets, members of the JUI, religious political group, were holding demonstrations in favor of Osama bin Laden, burning U.S. flags and holding up photographs of Osama bin Laden. And you can't help but feel that Pakistan is a nation torn in different directions. On the one hand, there are people who will take to the streets and demonstrate in favor of this terrorist mastermind. And on the other hand, there are, very urbane, intellectual, moderate men like Hussein Haqqai, the ambassador you've just clipped there. People who completely disagree with bin Laden's philosophy, and so. It's really difficult, I think, to run a country like that, and I think some of the bifurcation in the country's policies that you've seen are part of the bifurcation in the country itself. That Pakistan is fundamentally a country at war with itself.